Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel here. Sunday evening, we have a new week ahead of us. I want to do something different. I wanna show you what levels I'm looking at for this week only. So it's a lot more short term for gold and silver and a lot of other good stuff here. So short term, when should you be bullish? When should you be bearish, in my view? And what are the key levels to look for? So this will be no long term stuff, only short term to see what we can expect. Depending on the different levels that we might hit or get below in this week for different assets. As always, please follow me, guys, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff, so we can help to grow this fabulous community that we are in. With that said, I want to go into silver with a massive green candle last Friday, which is the reasoning why you should be, from the get-go here, bullish for the remaining of the week. Again, we could have some pullback in here to do some retesting, but with this candle breaking out from that golden band right there, insanely strong, closing at the top. Again, we have inverted head and shoulders here that are completed now, and we are going higher. So the path of least resistance to me is all the way up to here. Maybe not next week, but then the week after, and that is the big long-term blue trend line right here. So again, very short term. Maybe we can go to the 1 hour to the 8 hourly. Actually, we did clear that triangle last week, and the momentum is to the upside for silver. Gold, what gold is doing here is very, if you don't have a position now, you shouldn't do anything, in my honest opinion. Levels to look for is the highs here at roughly 2010, getting above 2010. We are aiming for the all-time high, in my view, at roughly 2075. If this breaks to the downside, you should be short term, or bearish at least, and we could go all the way down here to roughly 1950 for a big support level. That is the maximum move I can see here. So very interesting to see what happens here. Do we break down? Then, in my view, bearish for the remaining of the week until we get above here at 2010. 2010, excuse me. Bitcoin, also with some very interesting setup here. You can see this squeeze that we have right here. Actually, you could maybe copy that one for some more clearance here. So if you add it into roughly there. But anyways, we have had a false breakout here above that level at roughly 38K. And to me, when I see that, I'm very often in the group that we are going to see a move down to the lower side of the formation. And that is what I'm expecting now until proven otherwise. So a move down to roughly 36K, give or take. And then we will see if it holds during the week. If it doesn't hold, then we are going lower. And if we break the lower trend lines here, we are going to plunge down to roughly 31K, 32K, in that range, in my view. So right now, again, if you don't have a position, that's fine. Again, if we get back above here, super, then it's very, very bullish, and that's very bearish. So this week, I think we could go down to 36K for Bitcoin. Now we have the 10-year rates, and we are now into our levels here, the highs here. We almost touched the 4.33, which we have been looking at for a long time. Again, you can see here we came down to that high here, so very, very close at roughly 4.37. And now we have broken that one here to the upside. So for now, at least very short term here, it looks like we have a bounce. But I think long term the trend is broken. So this will be some very short term bounce here. I think, let's zoom all the way out for you guys to see. That golden trend line has been broken from 2020 actually. So in my honest opinion, I think we could be in for a major break here to the downside, and then we have lower rates in the making. But for now, this week, I'm expecting some sort of bounce here. How high will we go? I have no idea. But that long-term break here suggests to me that in the weeks to come, we are going down. But this week, we could see something like this, for a tiny bounce. Palladium, again, we have had our false breakdown here. We're now back in to the 2-year-long falling wedge. And now with this candle here, I'm actually having a bullish bias going into it. We have a breakout here, retesting a bit below that green trend line, which is fine. and now with a huge green candle Friday. I would suspect that we can go all the way up to roughly here at roughly 11:30, 11:40, give or take, and then we will have some resistance. The reasoning why that golden one is so important is because it goes back roughly 2 years. So that will be a big one to get through right here. But for this week, I would suspect that we can go all the way up here, and then we will see what happens until proven otherwise, as I always say. Platinum here, again, is in between two levels here. I want to say that if we get above here at roughly 950, 945, 950, that's when we will go long. And getting below that pivot low here, that's obviously for this week will be bearish. So below 910, that is not what you want to see. So again, patience here, but again, this long-term red resistance line actually goes back to 2008. So this is the big one to really get through. So if we can clear that one here at roughly 950, then in my view, we have a move all the way up to 1000 here for the weeks to come. Copper, I'm very intrigued by looking at copper. Some very well-defined levels. We have this major golden squeeze here, breakdown, and now we are trying to do a rounding bottom here at the apex, which is and could be very bullish. In my view, we need to get above 3.83 for a very bullish entry long term on the long side. And if we get below here again at roughly 3.75, I do think we can drop quite a bit here for copper. But as you can see, we are at the apex here, and the direction that we go from here will be the trendsetter in my view for a very long period of time. So these levels are the two to look for in my view for copper. Nat gas also, we are here at that longer-ish term golden trend line. If we drop below, I suggest that we will have a gap fill here at roughly 2.7. If it holds, again, it's getting very cold in Denmark and the remaining of the Northern Europe. So maybe we will have a bounce here again. If we get back above that green horizontal line right there, that's very bullish. Within here, in my view, you don't do anything. You don't know which direction it's going to break, but the levels are quite clear. So roughly 3 for the long and getting below 2.8 for the short side. URNM, I'm waiting to see what happens when we hit the all-time high here at roughly, let's zoom in for the all-time high. Where is it? The all-time high stands at 51.66, and that's right where we are, as you can see here. What happens when we hit that level? That's what I'm interested in to see. Getting above is obviously insanely bullish, but again, hitting all-time highs, usually you see some sort of covering, or excuse me, taking profit, or some might even go short at that point in time. So let's see what happens there. That's really all that I'm interested in for URNM. This is the Brazilian ETF. I like to have it in because it's emerging markets. I would like to see what happens there. And again, long term, if we can get above that pivot high right there at roughly 34.2, very bullish getting above. And we have, if we drop down to the 1 hour, you can see here we have some decisions time to go through. So if we can get above that red triangle here, then I think we will charge in at that 34.2 and then higher. Getting below, then we have actually a major gap here that I think could get filled potentially over the weeks to come. So that is basically the levels to look for in my view. So anything below that triangle there, bearish, and above you are bullish. But I think long term it stands out too that when we break that 34.2, you have tremendous upside for me. But again, let's see where we are this week. We could break, or we could have another roundabout, and then we will see where we end up. This is the GDXJ, the gold miners, the juniors more specifically, and in my view, as we speak, bullish setup here with that candle, and I'm looking for more upside. If we get below 35.2, then I think we will fill these gaps here actually before going higher. So again, as long as we are where we are, That's in my view very bullish. We have some highs from over here, as you can see here. These are really the ones to get above, but then again, I think that shouldn't be a problem if we can stay here. The GDX, so these are the gold miners, not the juniors. I think if we can clear this, there it is, that yellow trend line, then short term we should go all the way up here to roughly 30. If we cannot clear it and we start to move back here, then there are some gaps here that potentially could get filled. Not this one this week, obviously, but then we are more downside. So the long side clearly stands. We want to break back above that yellow trend line, and we don't want to lose the white one here, which is a long horizontal line at roughly 28.8. SILJ, again, the bias is up. For me, we have broken that long-term blue channel there, and we have cleared a lot of horizontal resistance, you know, between 9 and 8.8, and we have broken out retest resumption. So the bias is up for this week, definitely, and I think we are charging in to hit that long-term golden trend line. Not this week, obviously, but for the next few weeks. That is the bias. If we're going to get below here again, obviously, then the bias changes to bearish. That's as clear as day in my view. The Nasdaq here short term. I want to go to the 4 hourly. Right now we are right here. I want to do it like this. We have the highs here that stand at roughly 18K, excuse me, 16K. And now we have this formation here with some topping above that high from over there above 16K. And now it stands right here. That's the line to look for. If we get below here, I'm bearish until we can get back above. But if we get a break here, I think this week we will have more downside momentum than upside momentum. I actually think the deepest pullback that we can get will not happen this week. But if we break here, I think we can go all the way down here and have a major test here at roughly 15.2. Again, long term, that's not bearish. Actually, this looks very bullish longer term. We have had that major higher high, and now we could make a lower low, excuse me, a higher low at roughly the lowest it could go would be something around just north of 15K. So look for that simple 2-line flag right here. Which way do we go? If we get back above here again, above the 16K, a tad above 16K, 18K, 16K, excuse me, then you're bullish. Dropping below, I am bearish. Same thing again for the SP 500. We have the same kind of formation here. Getting below, you should be bearish. If we can stay above here and start to curl higher, that's bullish. Again, we have the highs here. And the level is very clear. You can see the white horizontal trend line, which stands right here. So bearish, if we can start to somehow get back above here, then you have momentum to the upside for the SP 500. The Dixie are actually coming into some big support here at roughly 103.4. So if we get below that level, I'm very bearish this week, and we could go all the way down here to 102.5. Again, if we have a bounce here and we clear that red one here, I think we have more upside for this week to come. So big level coming up here for the Dixie. And yeah, we are definitely in a downtrend, but we could go all the way up here, right, and still be in that downtrend. So let's see where we are this week. And then I've added in the BDIY because I think it's an interesting sector, and I think many people, well, not many people, excuse me, are looking at it, but I think they should, because at some point in time, the BDI or the shipping industry actually can give some amazing gains. And yeah, as you can see, we have had that huge retest here. I want to go to usually Heiken Ashi because otherwise the chart is very yeah, I don't know exactly how to say it, but anyway, we have that breakout, the retest here, and now we are at these highs right here. So if we can get above that breakout high there at roughly let's make it exactly clear. 2,105, very bullish. If we start to curl down here again, then we are at a potential double top. So you don't go long the BDI until we get above that level and confirm that this is not a double top in the making. If it doesn't clear here, then we could be in for some move like this where we need another go before we can go higher. So 2,105 is the long level. The short side, I don't know exactly how to. I think this one, that formation right here, spells that we want to go higher long term. So I don't have a specific shorting. That's not my style to do it like this when we have this long term bullish setup here. I'm just waiting for that long side for the BDI, the Baltic Dry Index, that is, and then you have the ETFs, which also should go higher when we break that level, and the stocks, obviously. That's all I had for you guys. Again, if you enjoyed this, every week do something like this, let me know. Can I make it better? Let me know. Maybe we need to drop down to shorter time frames because it's only 1 week. I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. And as always, enjoy your evening, and we will see you in the next one, guys. Have a great one. Bye.